Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about quite a unique book that would be useful for people who are interested in Kabbalah, whether that be Hermetic Kabbalah or Jewish Kabbalah. And the book is the Encyclopedia of Jewish Myth, Magic and Mysticism. And this is by Geoffrey Dennis. It's published by Llewellyn. And this is the second edition, and it's quite a thick book. So here is the book. It's nearly 500 pages. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this book today for people who are interested. It is in alphabetical order from A to Z, and it's a very thorough book. It's got a lot of black and white illustrations and drawings in here that are quite beautiful. If you can see this one on the cover here, each chapter for each of the alphabet of the letters, there is a beautiful black and white picture for each of the chapters, and lots of other black and white drawings and illustrations in here as well. Now I'm going to talk a bit about what's in this book, but I wanted to talk about this book today because it really is a unique book. There are not many books at all that cover this type of thing in this way. Usually you will get books on Jewish Kabbalah that don't really mention esoteric or magic, for example. You may get Jewish myth and biblical stories in books about Jewish Kabbalah. But this is why this book is really like a cross between a Jewish Kabbalah-based book, but it's also a Hermetic Kabbalah based book as well. So it's really unique in that way. So basically everything is in here. My first introduction to Jewish Kabbalah, which was to do with some classes that I did take with a rabbi. Jewish myth was one of the first things that was talked about, and I just found that so fascinating. I think it's really good to know this kind of information. I mean, this is the kind of thing that the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn were familiar with. A lot of these terms. A lot of the terms that are in the Zohar, for example, are all to do not only with the Bible, with Jewish scripture, but they're to do with Jewish myth. And to have some magical terms here, the names of all the different angels, there's a glossary in the back of the book, which is really useful, glossary of frequently used terms. There isn't an index because it's not really needed, because it's already in alphabetical order. At the beginning of the book, there's the introduction to the book, which is really worth reading. Then there is an introduction to the second edition, because this is the second edition, and how that differs to the original edition. Then there is a small couple of pages on how to use the book, how to get the best out of the book. And the book is quite large, so it's a little bit hard to show you some of the many black and white drawings and things that are in here. I'm going to try and do my best here, but it's a little bit difficult to show, to hold up the book and show things. Let's just see what I could find here. For example, under the letter A, you've got the Ancient of Days, which is a really interesting term. There's all kinds of things in here. There's ancestors. There's the kind of things that people wouldn't maybe expect to be in this book, but there's all kinds of things in here. So it's really good for cross-referencing, whether you have Jewish Kabbalah books or whether you have Hermetic Kabbalah books. These terms are often referred to, they're often mentioned. So it's really useful to be able to have this book. It's like a dictionary in a way as well. You can just look up anything that you need. I'll just see if the camera can pick this up. It's a little bit difficult. This is the beautiful type of illustration that's in here. It's really beautiful work. And this is for the letter B. So there's a beautiful illustration for each of the 26 chapters for the alphabet. So this is all based on strangely enough, it's sort of the way that the book is divided. It's just to do with the letters of the usual kind of alphabet, but by that I mean the Western alphabet. But otherwise, just everything is in here. For example, the term chariot. There's far more specific things to do with Hebrew and Jewish terms in here. There's just all kinds of things. Information about Cain from the Bible. There's even an entry here for calendar. And all of these things are really worthwhile. It's a great book. It's just really and truly unique. Here's another one. This is a diagram of the heavens from the Sefer Raziel. This. That's really fascinating too. I'll just see if I can hold the book up and try to show a few more things that will sort of show on camera. I love the way that this is black and white. I love black and white drawings and illustrations anyway. So I really like this. The heck a lot. There's a lot here on the heck a lot. The lesser palaces. All of these are, a lot of these are, of course, Kabbalah terms. And things are cross-referenced as well. Like, for example, when you're looking at the holy sparks, it will say which entry it's under if it's not in that particular entry. And you've got things for the Holy Spirit, but then you have got the Jewish term for that. The Ruach HaKodesh. You've got the Jewish or the Ruach Elohim. There's information about the host of heavens. There's a really interesting entry here about lost rituals. So lost rituals as well. There's a little drawing here of Lilith here, portrayed as a metal amulet. So these are quite ancient. Some of these drawings are referring to quite ancient amulets and things. There's information here, for example, called lost books. And this is the type of thing where, the Book of Noah, for example, comes under here, the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the type of thing that was in my recent video about the books of Enoch. So there's a really, really good long, almost a full page entry on that. But there's just so much in here. It's just really fascinating. A Hebrew magic square. So here it is here. Hope you can see, yeah, with all of the different Hebrew letters. So how to draw or write a Hebrew magic square. I think this book is just really indispensable for not only people who are interested in Jewish mysticism and myth, but, like I said, magic as well. But if you are interested in Jewish Kabbalah and or Hermetic Kabbalah, for me, it's a must. If you are really serious about long-term study and practice of Kabbalah, this book is just perfect for all of that. There's, of course, there's an entry for Metatron, the Midrash. There's even an entry about mirrors, and I've always been fascinated with mirrors to be used in a magical or esoteric sense. So, as I said, there's all kinds of things in here. There's even a mention of Gnostic terms like the Ophites are in here too. There's an entry here for paradise. I mean, everything is in here. Everything you could possibly need or want is in here, plus more besides that. There's even an entry here on herbs. What kind of herbs were used? Planets. Possession. And these are different types of possessions. A lot of people may think of, demonic possessions, but there's also ghostly possessions. There's quite a lot on that, actually. There's almost, 3 pages on that. I'm just fascinated by this book. I mean, I could just sit here. I mean, you could spend so much time on this book. Prophecy and prophets. There's a lot here on that too. The Psalms. Another really good picture here of an amulet. And this amulet is showing one of the Psalms on here, for example. I mean, look at that. Great drawing. So it's a very, very useful book, but it's also fascinating. So I'm just looking towards the back of the book now. As I said, everything is in here because it's got biblical terms as well as Kabbalah terms. There's a really good entry on rituals. all the different types of rituals. And the picture on the cover is taken, this is all done by the same artist, the chapter illustrations, and this illustration is called the Sabbath Queen, which is very much like the High Priestess of the Tarot. So the Golden Dawn did base a lot of the major arcana on these types of holy archetypes. Because the Golden Dawn really did revere the Kabbalah, the Jewish Kabbalah. They actually referred to it and called it the Holy Kabbalah. I mean, even Crowley referred to it in that way. And Crowley did not regard many things as being holy, but he did regard Jewish Kabbalah as being holy. The fallen angel Samael is in here. And there's a really good entry here of almost 2 pages all about the term sapphire, and that is supposed to be the basis of the word Sephirah of Kabbalah, of the Sephirah. So that's a really lovely concept when you think about that too. There are not many photographs in this book. Most of this is drawings and illustrations, but here is a great photograph here. It's a great photograph. And there's another term, the seraphim. The seraphim are the fiery ones. That is what that photograph is depicting. There's an entry for the serpent. Here's another one, another really interesting term or concept, the 6 primordial things. There's quite a long entry on sorcery. There's even an entry on the sun and what that signified, what that meant in ancient times. So I'm just going through some of the things. Quite a long entry about the temple. Throne of Solomon. So I'm just browsing towards the end of the book now, but I mean, there's so much in here. There's an entry here on witches and witchcraft, and what because there's that's mentioned in the first book of Enoch, There's the Witch of Endor. And of course, the Zohar, once you get to the letter Z, it's all about there's a lot about the Zohar, which is the Book of Radiance. Even information about the Jewish zodiac. There are, then you get to the end of the book, there's the abbreviations that are in here, the abbreviations for the different biblical books in regard to the entries. And abbreviations in regard to the Kabbalah and other traditional sources. And there is a really good glossary in here, quick reference glossary of frequently used terms, and a really good bibliography at the back. So there's English reference books in English. And then there are Hebrew and other language books. That's in a separate category. Then there's online reference material. There's anthologies and articles in English. There's another separate category for that. So you could spend a lifetime on all these references if you to look further as well. And I know, just glancing this bibliography, I know that these are quality references, really, really good. So this is just so well done. And there's the last page is list of art credits, which is really good. I find a lot of books don't necessarily do that, or they don't do enough of that, especially when there's particular things that I want to know, the source for that drawing or illustration. A lot of books don't necessarily have that, but this book just has everything. Okay. It says here on the back, over 3,500 years of accumulated secret wisdom. So this is the Encyclopedia of Jewish Myth, Magic and Mysticism, the second edition by Geoffrey Dennis, revised, expanded and illustrated, published by Llewellyn. I'm sure it's still available. I think it's a type of thing that would normally remain in print. As I was saying, it's about 500 pages, but it's such a great reference book for people who are interested in Jewish mysticism, in Kabbalah, whether that be Hermetic Kabbalah or Jewish Kabbalah. As I was saying, everything is in here. I find all of these different aspects just so interesting. The myth in particular, Jewish myth, and I think the ancient magical terms in here as well, and rituals and all. Now, it's not a how-to with the rituals, but it is talking about the different rituals that were in use by the ancient Jewish culture. So I hope you were interested in finding out about this book today. I'll put some details below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.